My name is Linnea Christerson, and I died for 40 minutes. When I crossed to the other side, I met Jesus. What he showed me is not something I ever planned to speak about. I did not go looking for this. I was not chasing a vision, a revelation, or a story to impress anyone. I was 50 years old, ordinary, practical, skeptical in many ways, and convinced I understood how life worked. Then my heart stopped, and everything I thought I knew collapsed. That I want to be clear from the beginning. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not here to scare you for effect. I'm here because I was told to speak. What I saw was not chaotic. It was not theatrical. It was ordered, precise, and heavy with meaning. There was authority in everything I experienced. Not loud authority. Not threatening authority. The kind that doesn't need to raise its voice because it defines reality itself. The day I died began like any other. No sense of destiny. No warning. I collapsed suddenly, and the next thing I was aware of was not pain, not panic, not confusion. It was separation. That's the only word I can use. I was aware that something essential had been removed, like a garment slipping off without resistance. I didn't float upward. I didn't see my body from the ceiling. I simply knew I was no longer contained by it. There was movement, but not through space as we understand it. It was more like being carried by intention. I didn't choose where I was going. I didn't resist it either. Fear didn't hit me all at once. It came slowly, the way cold creeps in when you realize you are not dressed for the weather. Then the light appeared. Not a light source. Not brightness. Presence. It was alive. Intelligent. It saw me before I could think to hide. And here's the part that still makes my hands shake when I speak it aloud. The light knew everything about me, and there was no negotiation about that. Every motive, every half-truth I told myself, every private compromise I justified quietly. None of it was hidden. And yet I wasn't destroyed by that knowing. I was held inside it. That's when I realized I was not alone, that I did not see angels first. I did not see crowds or gates or clouds. I became aware of order. Layers of awareness, like standing inside a structure built of truth instead of stone. There was direction. Purpose. And then, without announcement, he was there. Jesus did not arrive. He did not step forward. He simply was. I recognized him without being told. Not from art. Not from stories. Recognition came from alignment. Everything in me knew, at once, that this was the one to whom all things answer. His authority wasn't imposed. It was intrinsic. Gravity doesn't argue. Fire doesn't explain itself. Neither did he. He looked at me, and when he did, I understood something that froze me in place. He was not discovering who I was. He already knew. Completely. And he had known long before I ever had a name. I tried to speak. I couldn't. Not because I was silenced, but because speech felt unnecessary. Thought itself felt exposed. There was no private inner world. Everything I was existed in the open. Then he did something I was not prepared for. He showed me my life. Not as a highlight reel. Not as a list of sins. As truth. Every moment unfolded with the weight it actually carried, not the weight I assigned to it while living. Small choices I dismissed appeared heavy. Moments I thought were insignificant glowed with consequence. I saw how words rippled forward, how silence harmed, how intentions mattered even when actions looked good on the surface. There was no accusation. No shaming. But there was judgment. Judgment, as I learned in that place, is not anger. It is clarity. It is reality revealed without distortion. And clarity is terrifying when you've lived most of your life slightly blurred on purpose. Then Jesus showed me something else. He showed me people. Not individuals as we see them, but souls as they truly are. Some were bright, not because they were perfect, but because they were aligned. Others were dim, heavy, compressed inward on themselves. What frightened me wasn't punishment. It was self-chosen distance. Separation that came from refusal, not rejection. I saw that no one was forced away from him. And that terrified me more than fire ever could. Then he said something. His voice was not sound. It entered me whole. Many believe time is generous. That sentence carried weight like a stone dropped into still water. I understood immediately what he meant. People assume there will be more chances. More clarity later. More softness in the future. More time to decide who they really are in relation to truth. Then he showed me what happens when time runs out. Not flames. Not torture. Exposure. Souls standing in the full light of truth with nothing left to explain themselves with. No narratives. No excuses. No borrowed beliefs. Just what they had actually become. I saw how terrifying it is to meet eternal truth without having practiced honesty. Then he showed me something that made me recoil. He showed me religion without obedience. Words spoken without surrender. Faith worn like clothing but never allowed to reshape the body beneath it. I saw how dangerous familiarity can be. How easily people confuse knowing about him with knowing him. That's when fear finally hit me fully. Not fear of punishment. Fear of being mistaken. Fear of assuming alignment without transformation. Fear of discovering too late that I had admired truth instead of submitting to it. I wanted to ask questions. Thousands of them. Why this person? Why that suffering? Why silence? Why delay? He did not answer them the way I expected. Instead, he showed me authority. I saw angels, not as gentle ornaments, but as agents of order. They did not wander. They did not improvise. They carried out intention with precision that made human systems look childish. There was no chaos in that realm. No confusion about roles. Everything knew its place. And then he showed me judgment again. Not future judgment. Ongoing judgment. Reality constantly sorting itself according to truth. People think judgment is an event. It's a process already in motion. Then he showed me something that stopped me cold. He showed me how thin the barrier is. Not between life and death. Between awareness and ignorance. Most people are not rebellious, he showed me. They are distracted. And distraction, prolonged long enough, hardens into resistance. Then he said something else. Tell them I am not distant. I understood immediately. People imagine him far away, waiting, passive, detached. What I saw was attention. Intense attention. He is closer than breath, and infinitely more patient than we deserve. But patience is not permission. That moment, I felt a pull. Not panic. Not fear. A return. I did not want to leave. Not because the experience was pleasant. It wasn't. It was sobering. But it was real in a way life had never been. As I was pulled back, he showed me one final thing. He showed me the weight of 7 minutes. I understood then why the phrase mattered. People talk about near death in minutes. They don't understand what a minute contains when time collapses. 7 minutes in that realm is not short. It is exposure enough to undo a lifetime of self-deception. Then everything reversed. Sound returned violently. Weight. Pain. Breath forced back into lungs that did not want it. Confusion. Hands pressing on my chest. Voices shouting time and numbers. 40 minutes had passed. When I woke later, I knew something was different, not emotionally. Structurally, fear followed me home. Not panic. Awareness. Curiosity followed it. A hunger to understand what had been shown. But above both stood authority. I had encountered something that did not ask for my interpretation. That is why I speak now, not to frighten you into belief, but to tell you this. Truth is not waiting for you to feel ready. Jesus is not an idea you can hold at arm's length forever. Time is not as generous as it feels, and clarity, when it arrives, does not negotiate. I died for 40 minutes. I met Jesus. And what he showed me did not freeze my blood because it was cruel. It froze my blood because it was accurate. Thank you for listening.